Hey guys, welcome to the Tribe Triathlon Podcast. Now, our last episode, we talked about Ironman Texas and my bit of disappointment in my performance there too. It was a bit melancholy, it was a bit down, but today we're going to flip the script, and today is fun, it is exciting, and all full of happy rainbows and unicorns. So excited to get into this one, and I actually got to say, I had these guys in mind for a while. I've been kind of following their journey, and it was super cool to see them set a world record. So this is actually the second episode of our podcast where we've had world record holders on, and I am very excited to introduce to the world Twinwave. So we have Peyton and Cameron with us today, and these guys actually set a new record for, and you'll correct me if this is wrong, the youngest twins to ever complete an Ironman. Is that right?
Yeah. We were the youngest twins ever to do a full Ironman.
Yeah. So they spent their 18th birthday, along with me and a couple thousand other friends out there, becoming an Ironman. So you may know that you cannot register for an Ironman prior to being 18 years old. So I guess just it fortunately fell on their birthday, and so they were able to sign up. So they are among the youngest people, also to complete that. I'm sure that has to be a pretty short list of folks that have actually done it on their 18th birthday. So, and they're just a handful that may even be younger than y'all. What time are y'all born? Do you know?
We were born at, I think, Texas time. It was 4:28 and 4:29 in the morning. Yeah.
Okay. So real early in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going to go out there and say that whoever was first, who was first?
I was first, yeah.
Okay. So I think you have a really strong case for being the youngest person ever to complete an Ironman, which I think is just super cool.
Yeah.
So kind of before we dig into the race and your history and all that, so I saw you guys have a great social media, and I'm not great at following it, but been fun to watch you guys along the way. So I was checking out one the other day, and y'all were at Costco, and I believe, I don't remember which one of y'all said that Costco had the greatest ice cream, and it was a hill that you were willing to die on. Which one of y'all, which one? First off, for my reference and everyone else, introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Who to?
So I'm Peyton. I'm Cameron.
Okay. So Peyton, the oldest one, and Cameron, like 1 minute younger. That's
30. It's actually 30 seconds. Yeah.
Wow. And y'all speak in unison, which I'm here for. I love it. Usually like twins are at least a couple minutes. So yeah, man, y'all are right there. Y'all have stuff to get to and take care of business, and y'all haven't slowed down since, apparently. So that's cool. So who was it that was willing to die on the hill of Costco being the best ice cream?
Yeah, it was me, which is Peyton.
Okay.
And I love Costco ice cream so much. I think it tastes the best, and it's cheap, and it is my favorite ice cream out there. We had finished the race, I think it was an hour after we got back, and all she could talk about was Costco ice cream. Yeah.
Did you get some?
We not in Texas, but when we got home, we got it. Yeah, and I was very excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just dumb luck. Like the day after I saw that, I happened to go to Costco with my wife. And I think definitely since I moved to Tennessee like 9 months ago, this is the first time I've been to Costco. So I don't go on a regular basis. Kind of side note, it's like my dad's favorite thing to do. He does it every week, like whether they need anything or not. He loves Costco. So I was kind of like, what am I missing here? So I went along with my wife when we needed just a couple things. And then I walk in and I see the ice cream. I was like, hey, these guys are going to be on the podcast. I need to check out the ice cream. And so we do our shopping, and at the very end, go and get the ice cream. And yeah, it's cheap. So just the plain vanilla, and it's like a big cup. It's more than enough. It's $1.99. So I splurged for the fancy stuff that was $2.99. It was like caramel churros, something or other. And so I was like, I was going to have to test this out. And I got to say, price-wise, fantastic. I mean, I love a good deal. But man, I just got to, I was thinking, well, maybe, so it's soft serve ice cream. So it's not like real. But I was like, well, maybe it's going to be really good soft serve.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. I got to say that, I don't know. Now, I will say, so you guys live in Arizona, is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we live in
Okay.
Tucson, Arizona, so it's like an hour and a half out of Phoenix.
Yeah. Do you guys have Handles ice cream?
We do.
Yeah.
We just had a Handles come to Tucson, I think about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was introduced to Handles a couple of years ago. The first one I went to was in St. George. And I first thought it was like just like a little mom and pop shop, but then I realized it's actually a chain. And then my son lives in LA. So every time we'd go out to LA, I'd make sure to go get Handles. And then when I moved to Nashville, there's one like a mile away. So I got to say, Handles is my favorite ice cream. And that comes from a lifelong Texan, which we definitely value our Bluebell. And now that I live kind of in the southeast, there's the Mayfield Dairy, which also has some excellent ice cream as well. But yeah, I got to kind of go off script and say that Bluebell is not my favorite. No, it's Handles, but it's a little different too, because you have like your in-store ice cream and then like your grocery store versus your like go get a scoop and then your like value. I think you're hard pressed too, because now Handles is pretty good value too. But yeah, it's just outrageous what some of these ice creams have come to cost. So anyway, we can throw that out there. What's your favorite ice cream? What are your thoughts on the Costco $1.99 soft serve? And you know, I didn't try this out, but for $1.50, they have an all beef hot dog and a refillable drink. So $1.50 for that. That's like throwing back to like when I was y'all's age and things were actually somewhat affordable. So very cool. So what does Twinwave mean? Where did that come from?
So Twinwave, so we named our Instagram account Twinwave because when we originally took that handle on Instagram, we weren't even doing triathlons. So with that handle, we just wanted to make an impact in whatever we used it for. So, and we also love the ocean. So we thought Twinwave as a push into the community and hoping to make an impact. And
All right. So probably not a whole lot of ocean exposure there in Arizona, but hopefully I'll get out to the coast eventually. Very cool. So are you guys high school seniors? Is that where y'all are at?
Yeah, we're homeschooled, which is awesome especially for training for full. But we're high school seniors, so we're about a month out from graduating, which is
very
crazy.
Cool. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. So do you all do anything besides triathlon? Any other hobbies or anything like that?
Well, every once in a while we do rock climbing and golf. And we love watching F1 and line dancing. So those are a couple of the hobbies.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So here I am in Music City, and we've got plenty of that here. So if y'all are ever in Nashville, we'll have to. And now that y'all are 18, y'all can get into more places. So that's cool. So whose idea was it to go and pursue this record of being the youngest twins and among the youngest people ever to complete an Ironman?
It was my idea. I was actually, when the Ironman calendar came out last summer, I was looking at it and I was like, no way. The Ironman Texas moved up a week and it's on our birthday. And I brought it to Cam and I'm like, this is so crazy. Like, it's on our birthday. What are the chances? And she was like, oh my gosh, we should go and watch in person. I'm like, no, we should do it. Like, that would be so cool. And that was even before we thought about the world record or even looking up who is the youngest set of twins or just people in general to do an Ironman. Yeah. So that's how it kind of came about.
Yeah. So was there an existing record for the youngest twins to have done an Ironman?
I don't think so. There were two twins that did a 70.3. Okay. That were 18 and 2 months old, and then there's been a couple twins that were 18 and 6 months old, but there wasn't an outstanding record that we had to beat, so we're kind of the first to kickstart that. Yeah. For anybody trying to beat it.
Yeah. And at 18 and 4.5 hours, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
To beat. So, and even like kind of you were saying there, not only do you have to have the will and the ability and all that to do it, you have to have a race that falls on your birthday. It's like you mentioned, Ironman Texas historically has been that following weekend. So I guess it was fate for you guys to have that opportunity and to do that. So do you know, is there a record for the youngest person, or do you know what that is? I mean, obviously it's out there. Do you know youngest individual?
I don't know the youngest individual. I think there was a girl who did Ironman Texas and she was 18 in 6 months, but it's very online. It's very hard to tell.
Okay. So y'all probably have the twin, the number one, and the number two barely with that. So very cool. Have you guys thought about any other, because y'all are so young, obviously you are very high performers, any other records you guys have thought about going after?
Well, we'd have to do a lot more research, but I mean, there's none on the horizon right now, but I don't know. Yeah, we'd have to do a lot more research to see if there are any opportunities first and then make that decision.
But we're definitely not opposed to try and find more.
I bet, because I mean, being as young as y'all are, and obviously, like I said, high performers, I would imagine like y'all have like a world record for the most world records as twins or whatever set. So that's super cool, and definitely here for it. So take us back a little bit. Obviously, we can't go too far back, but tell us your triathlon story. How did you guys get into it? How were you exposed to it? And what led you up to racing Ironman?
Yeah, so our dad actually started triathlon first in our family, and we watched him do his first triathlon, and we're like, gosh, that looks really fun.
Yeah.
And so we signed up for our first super sprint when we were 9 years old, and we did that, and ever since we've like just fallen in love with the sport, and it's been our favorite thing.
Yeah, Kona was also like our Super Bowl in our house, so the long distance has always been on our minds. We did try out. We tried out Draft Legal. We basically just did sprints before, and those are super fun and super hard. But Peyton and I've always felt like we were sort of built for long distance. Does that make sense? And so when we heard that Ironman Texas was on our birthday, it was almost like it's what you said. It felt like meant to be almost. Yeah.
And so obviously parents were on board, and I so seeing as out your dad was already a triathlete, and now you guys are wanting to go and join this exclusive elite club of Ironman, and especially at such a young age. I'm guessing how did they react to this ambition?
They were really excited, but also like as parents, you're just like want to support as best as you can, and we couldn't have done it without them. Everything that got us to where we are to be able to do it was like we couldn't have done it without them and their support.
They're probably they're the most supportive people of whatever we wanted to do, and so when we came to them with this goal, obviously as parents you have reservations about your 18-year-old doing a full Ironman, but they were fully on board and helped us with every single step, whether it was sagging us or before we had our license, driving us to every swim, and
Yeah. And that's true for everybody. It's you could not do this without your support crew. It's just not all of us have our parents, and I've had the opportunity to race with a lot of my friends that their parents are very involved, and these are folks that are much older than you guys even. My parents have never been to a triathlon, even though I've been doing this for a long time. It's my career, but it just hasn't worked out for them. But that is super cool to have all that support. And had your dad done Ironman before? Was he already there?
He was there, but he hasn't done a full Ironman.
Oh,
not yet.
okay.
Not a full. He's done a half,
Okay.
and that was an experience for him. He basically had to walk the whole half marathon because his tire went flat, and then he lost all his nutrition, and then he cramped up, and he basically had to just push through the whole half. So I know he would want to do another one or a full again.
Wants to redeem himself.
Yeah, but we are the first ones in our family to do a full.
Yeah.
That is all the more impressive, because I just had it in my mind that he was like a 20-time Ironman finisher, and like you guys just grew up around it and grew up at the races. So for you guys to be blazing that trail among the family, that's all the more impressive and all the more just ambitious. Because I mean, it's one thing to say like, yeah, I've seen my dad do this our entire life, but to just go out and set that goal to do double what he was doing, wow, that's super cool. So moving on to Ironman Texas, the actual race, tell us about your training leading up to the race.
Yeah. So we did a micro coach training peaks plan. We did that we picked that one specifically because it was it was a number of weeks we needed. It was 28 weeks up from the race, so it was a perfect amount of time. And then the bikes and runs looked really good, but the swim was on the lower volume, which we preferred because we could add some of our own training and join in some group swims here. So, we trained for 28 weeks. Yeah.
Feel like it went well? Like, what did you guys think of like those long bike session, long runs? Did you enjoy those? Dread them? Any horror stories?
Yeah. So before going into this prep, I had only run 8 miles. Probably was my longest run. I think our longest ride was about 100K, which is like 62 miles.
Yep.
And they were like horrific experiences, like not fun. Like they were fun in the moment, but then when you don't know, like when you're not built up for that level of endurance yet, not fun. But then when we started, honestly, it was really good. Like don't get me wrong, it was really, really hard, but it was nice knowing that like when you finally have a goal and something to actually train towards, it's nice because then you can just like have confidence in yourself and focus on what you're doing. And it builds up really nice. I think the long run started at like an hour and 15 minutes and our peak run was 2:15. So it built up really nice over the 28 weeks. And our rides were like 3 hours or no, maybe even less.
It was 2.5 to
2.5 to start. And then we were ending at like 5. So yeah. And a lot of those had run off the bikes, which I really enjoyed the run off the bikes because it brought a level of confidence that I didn't have from any other plan, because I was like, how are you supposed to run after riding that long? And then I just went and did it. And it's actually surprising how your body adapts to that. So that was it. We really enjoyed our training plan. Yeah. And I think for horror stories, oh my gosh, I broke my hand like eight weeks out from the race. I fell off my bike I'm in the middle of our 5-hour ride and broke my right hand and my tooth. Actually, I hit the concrete. So it was a little scary because obviously your swimming stops after that, and consistency is key for my swimming. So that was a little scary, but I kicked as much as possible and I like pulled as slow as possible, and I got back to it. And my horror story would be the fact that now I didn't have a swimming partner, and we were going into probably the biggest part of our swim block, like 1K repeats in the pool. And I have no friend, so I'm just doing like 1K repeats by myself and trying to keep the vibes up and just
Now, I had that thought, like how great it would be to have like that built-in training partner, and I guess it could probably go either way. You know, like it's you either have that accountability, or it's like, man, I'm kind of not feeling it today. Like I'm not feeling it either. Did y'all have a little bit of both of that, or was it always just like, nope, we're doing it, let's go?
Oh, we had both of that for sure. I preferred doing a lot of my easy runs by myself just because you don't have that constant competition, so you can actually relax and just enjoy yourself. But we're pretty similar. Like, I think people would be surprised on how similar we are.
I don't know. I don't know how much surprise it's going to be.
But like our swim fitness, bike fitness, run fitness is all super close, which is awesome because having a built-in training partner is like the biggest blessing. I honestly don't know how people train by themselves because I would be so lonely.
It can get lonely. Yeah, that was definitely part of my story headed into Ironman Texas, because I moved to a new location and I lost my training partners and all that. So it was kind of lonely for me. So training went well. You overcame these hurdles. What did you guys think of Texas and the Woodlands specifically?
Do you want me to? So we really enjoyed it. In retrospect now, I think we would have stayed closer because we actually stayed like 20 minutes away from the race course in Conroe, Texas. In an Airbnb. But the energy was amazing there. Like Woodlands itself is like,
it's such a cool community.
Yeah.
Like running in that community was super
Mhm.
cool.
And it's beautiful, and everyone is very friendly, and yeah, it was overall a really good experience. Like,
Yeah.
It also made me more calm, but also more excited at the same time for the race, because that's also part of the race atmosphere when you get there. It's super fun seeing all
Uh-huh.
these people doing it with you, and yeah, it just makes you really excited.
I was really happy about the humidity after like 3 days once I had like gotten used to it, because the first day we were there we did like a 20 or 30-minute run, just a
Mhm.
shakeout, and we were both like, this is gonna be so hot.
Yeah.
Because coming from the desert you
Yeah.
get like nothing here, so
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, it looks absolutely nothing like Arizona. It's called the
Yeah.
Woodlands for a reason. It is extremely wooded.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I lived on the other side of Houston, down on the south side, for 45 years. And you did much better than me. I never got used to that humidity. And when I went back, the first morning I woke up in my hotel, and I went to like look out the window, and I couldn't see out the window because it was so fogged up from all the humidity. And I was like, man, I do not miss this humidity. But race day actually turned out to be pretty nice. So I saw you guys a little bit working with the Ironman crew and their social and all that. So you guys kind of got like the paparazzi treatment. What was that like, having Ironman follow you around, do those interviews, and be featured in some of those things?
It was speechless. Like, it was unbelievable, the amount of like support and the amount of amazing people we got to meet.
Mhm.
It's really cool to see how many people are behind the scenes as well that you get
Yeah.
to meet, which is awesome.
Yeah, we had known that we were gonna have a little bit of media attention, but we only found out that we were gonna be blessed with a videographer for the weekend, for on like the Wednesday that we got there. So
Mhm.
we met Laura. I think she joined us for our swim first. That was the
Mhm.
first thing, and she's so incredible and
She's
so
the
sweet.
sweetest person
And
ever.
yeah, she followed us around for most of the weekend for a swim, a run, and then
An interview as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think, and then what else did we do? We met more of the media team on Thursday. We also had the pleasure of being set up with a meeting with Kat Matthews before the pro panel, which was one of the most incredible experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can share who else we got to
And then
meet.
we also got to meet Scott DeRue, which I expected him to be nice, but he was like unbelievably amazing and like so sweet and just genuine, which is also like just amazing. Yeah, he was just so happy to be there and just like excited to meet us, and
Yeah.
just so kind. So it was awesome.
Yeah, they truly
cool.
made it one of the most incredible experiences. I don't know how we're ever going to top this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be tough. So were you guys featured at the banquet?
Yes, we were. Yeah,
Yeah.
the video, the recordings that Lauda had gotten over the weekend, they made a clip for the welcome banquet, and that was such a cool experience, because we didn't even know that was going to happen until we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did anyone recognize you before that? Did anyone kind of know who you guys were?
We had a couple people come up to us, and we had one girl come up to us, and she was just like, "It's so nice to meet you. Like, I'm so excited to race with other girls. Like, you guys are doing amazing things." And that just like,
Such a confidence boost.
it's a confidence boost, but also just like a blessing, because we
Yeah.
get to meet so many amazing people. But it's just so nice to see other women in sport, and just meet so many good people.
Yeah, and then after the video was played, it was crazy, because we got up from our table and once the thing had finished, and we just had a crowd of people come up to us.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd never had this before. So it was so nice meeting everybody.
Yeah.
People asking for photos and stuff. I was like, of course, I'm so excited to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I'm one of those people too, where I mean, I've had the opportunity to meet the who's who of the triathlon industry, and for me, they're great people, and they're amazing athletes, and they've got amazing stories. But to an extent, they're not the same, but but there's similar stories, and they're all good people. They're all struggling just to kind of make it, but there've been some people along the way that are unique and different and really stand out. And for me, those are the ones that I really looked forward to meeting, and almost had like that like celebrity like sighting. So the first was Chris Nikic, the first person with Down syndrome. I actually saw him out on the course when he was doing his first Ironman, and it was like, I was like starstruck, like, oh, there he is, and he was actually headed to the finish line, and so cool to see that. And then you guys are in there too, because y'all are unique. It's different, and just so impressed to have guys your age doing what we as much older people do and struggle to do it. And I can only imagine how difficult it is with your schoolwork and all that to do it. So that was super cool for me. And I know there were other people like that too. And, even just inspiration for everyone. But I think especially what you guys are doing with more like your age group. And as you mentioned, leading females into the sport. So huge props to you guys for everything y'all are doing. So tell us about race morning. So we're kicking off. It's now Saturday morning. What was your race morning protocol?
Well, I honestly want to say that it was a lot more peaceful than I would have thought, because the thing that was new for us was getting your bags in their corral the day before. So that was honestly really nice, because going to the race, all you have to do is just check your bike, find exactly where your bag is, because they usually shuffle them around a bit,
and add your nutrition.
And then go to the swim start. So that was really, really lovely. And I even said before we left at 4:45, I was walking out, and I was like, oh, I need to remember my shoes. And then I realized my shoes are there already. That was really nice. But then I had been really excited to get into the transition area when everyone's setting up their bikes and like getting ready. It's always like a very wow moment. And so when we finally got in, I took a second and looked around to see everyone doing their thing. And it's just so surreal. Like, you wait for that moment for so long. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy.
I think it was also crazy because there's so many more people. It's not like a local sprint triathlon. It's 30,000 athletes. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I love that for you guys. And I think that's something that we all need to do, are just take those moments and say, here we are, here I am. I've worked so hard for this, dreamt about this for so long, and just to not get caught up in the busyness of it all, but to take those moments to pause and take it all in. So you get everything set up in transition, and you're I assume you're walking down to the swim start. What were you feeling as you were making that walk down to the swim start?
Well, for me, I took my headphones off at that point, because while I was getting my bike and stuff ready, I was listening to music. But then I was like, I just want to kind of enjoy the atmosphere and just be with my parents. And we were just laughing and talking about things, trying to keep the nerves low. But it was honestly one of my favorite parts, because I enjoyed the mile walk, because it's a nice kind of warm up and separation from two busy areas. So it's almost like a breather. And it was honestly one of my favorite parts of the morning. So
no, I totally agree. I really liked the walk, and it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, so that it wasn't as stressful. But I thought I really enjoyed that walk, and I was just trying to calm nerves and just kind of relaxing.
Just enjoying.
Very cool. So you guys get down to the park. Did you guys seed yourselves together, or were you separate?
Yeah, so we wanted to seat ourselves in line with each other, and we tried to do that, and it actually worked out.
It did work out. We actually got the pleasure of doing an interview before we lined up with Haley Tura and Scott Turu, which was so incredible. But right after, we had to immediately run to wherever everybody was lined up, because we still had to get our skins on. And so I asked the first line of people, I said, hey, what's this corral? What time is this? And they're like, 1 hour. And I was like, perfect. That's where I wanted to see myself. So we were just lined up front, getting our swim skins on. I think there's a video of my mom and dad helping us into our swim skins. And then they were like, bye. And then all of a sudden we're staying there. We're going, oh my God. Okay, this is it. We're actually going to be starting. So we seated ourselves at the hour mark.
Okay. So right up front. And then, so you probably weren't there long, but what were your thoughts and what were your feelings after you got there into that 1 hour corral and before you guys jumped in the water?
I did a quick prayer. I was like, Jesus, I hope for a very good day, and I thank you for getting me here healthy and safe, and just
just calming
pray for
myself.
peace
Yeah.
and
And
safe day.
Yeah, and a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Paul, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce his last name, but the voice of Iron Man said a quick like speech in front of everybody, and I was trying not to cry. I was like, I can't cry right now. I'm about to get in the water.
Yeah.
But that was so inspiring. And then they led us up the what are they? The aisles to get into the water.
Like the
to split
corral.
them up.
The shoot. Yep.
Yeah. And they started doing the clap,
the clap.
and they started putting thunder struck.
And we were like, oh my God.
We had lined up next to each other in separate aisles, of course.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and we're like so excited. Like at that point for me, there was no more nerves because I was just excited to start.
Yeah.
Because it was so hype in there.
But we actually ended up being like probably 5 to 7 rows of people back from the start. Like we weren't one of the first people in the water.
But we entered at the exact
same time. Yeah.
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 Well, there were several hundred people behind y'all, so y'all were still pretty far up. I was way back there. So how did the swim go?
You can go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So at the beginning, I actually got kind of trampled by one guy, and that was a quick wake-up call. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the water with males. I'm like, because usually in draft legal, you're just with ladies, which can be an experience in itself, but when a like 25-year-old giant man is like trying to drown you, it's
not on purpose,
but just
trying
to
aware.
Get out. Just to get out. I was like, okay. I'm like, hold your space. And so I got out. I did 2 minutes of faster effort, but on the way out was pretty good. I wasn't sighting very well, which was not fun, but on the way out was pretty calm, to be honest, other than the start. You were the same.
Yeah.
I felt the same. I started off, I tried to get in a rhythm pretty early on because obviously there's no swim warm up for each grouper. So I know that if I go out super hard, super fast, I'm going to get lactic pretty quick. So I tried to just get into a rhythm, and I got into a rhythm really quick, which is a blessing. And it was funny because I guess where we had started, after the first 5 minutes, I was not really around people. I mean, also, I don't sight that great, so I was doing a little bit of zigzagging. We usually sight good, but we hadn't been in open water in a while because Arizona isn't, home for many good lakes.
So the first little bit, I was zigzagging quite a bit, but I didn't feel like I was in a crowd of people, which was nice on the way out. Yeah.
And then on the way back, I feel like it got pretty choppy, to be honest.
That too.
Yeah.
Which was, it wasn't bad. Like I think I've been in worse, but I didn't notice that it was a bit choppy, and I was more tired at that point, so I just got a little bit slappier. But it was still pretty good. Like there wasn't a ton of people.
I was following people.
Yeah. And then you looked over, and who'd you see?
Yeah. So because I'd broken my hand, I expected myself to be like, I prepared mentally. I was like, okay, you could be like 3 to 5 minutes behind her. Like I just have to accept that I'm not where I was. And so I went out, I was turned around the turnboys, and I started coming back, and I did a sight because I'm still zigzagging, so I'm trying to get myself straight. And I did a sight, and I lock eyes with her. I kid you not. I literally saw her, and I felt so much encouragement from that, because I was like, wow, we're already like more than a third over the way through, and I'm still like, I can see her.
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging. And then I also, side note, did not I know the water was disgusting, but I did not feel like it was disgusting during the swim, which was nice. But
I actually enjoyed because when I can't see anything, I prefer that because I don't know what's below me, and that's okay. But I felt like, honestly, for me, the lake portion of the swim felt the longest. I know the canal, technically, the distance is longer, but once we finally got in there and saw our friends and family, I was
smiling at them. That's such a cool experience. I know people talk about that all the time, but I didn't actually expect to see them. So having them literally walk beside me was one of the coolest things.
Yeah, everyone talks about that moment as being a highlight, and I knew that going in, but once you're there, you're like, oh, this makes it a lot more fun when you're already dying because the swim is so long in itself, and then you see all the people, and you're like, okay, this is really cool.
Yeah, so we just finished along the canal, and I think I came out maybe 20 seconds behind her, which is incredible.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think one thing that makes the canal hard is you kind of meander and you turn, and you can only see so far. And then you get to that spot and it's like, oh, well, we're not at the finish yet. I have another like bridge to go to, and then you get to that one, and you're like, oh, we're not there yet. And so it's just like it's one of those like mind games. Yeah, I mean, you swam more than 2 miles and all that, and it's just like, where is this swim exit? Man, I'm glad you didn't find the water too disgusting, because it is absolutely gross and disgusting. I wore my kit had like some white, but you guys were like all white kits, so they were not real white coming out of.
We had
water.
we have white tops and we had white swim skins, and when we came out, they were brown.
Yeah. And you probably have some permanent discoloration or some souvenir of Lake Woodlands on those swim skins and kits. So what would you say was the best part or favorite part of the swim?
Honestly, for me, at the end, like in the canal, I was expecting, everyone says there's 2 bridges, and I guess I had missed one bridge, so I went under the second one, and I was like, oh, this feels really long.
Yeah.
And then I look up, and I'm like, that's the ladder. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was really
your
nice.
favorite part was
Like
finishing.
opposite of me. Opposite of me, where you're like, where's the dang ladder?
It was nice because I was already like pretty like gassed because it was so long, but then it was nice because I kind of got surprised. I was like, this is finished.
My favorite part was the first time I saw mom and dad.
That was awesome.
Yeah, because I just looked over and smiled at them, and they were like, keep going. And I was like, okay.
And it is kind of rough and one of those things like where you're swimming and you're swimming at a relatively good clip. And then like the people that are following you, they're just like casually walking. And it's like, this mode of transportation is so inefficient. Like, can we just walk 2.4 miles and instead of having to swim? Because this is not a good mode of transportation for us. Because all these people are just like keeping up with, if anything, they're having to slow down so they don't pass us. But So what was the worst part of the swim? I think maybe Peyton have an idea what yours was with your boxing match there in the beginning. And I got to say, a lot of times, all the time, men seem to get blamed for the women. It's like every time I get it. But I got to say, I have taken some pretty tough blows from some of the women too. So it's
Me too.
the women are throwing punches too. So it's not just the men. And I got to say, 99.9% of the time, it's just the fact that everyone is taking strokes, and sometimes people's head get in the way of our stroke, and that's when that kind of stuff happens. But so what was the worst part of the swim?
For you, it's a boxing match.
It was that, or also just I had my form goggles on, so I kind of knew I was slower than expected, and that was a bit disheartening. But
I don't know. I don't know if I had a least favorite part of the swim. Like that was one of my favorite parts of the day, just because Peyton and I have grown up swimming, so we're a little more confident in the water. So I don't know if I had a least favorite part. Maybe me zigzagging was not.
That was not.
But
So what was your swim split?
I think my goggles said 107, but my timing chip was 108.
Yeah, mine was like 107.30, and then by the time I got out, it was like 108.
Yeah.
So basically, the differential of you guys being born was also your differential on the swim. So
that's funny. Exactly. Yeah, actually,
yeah, I know. Crazy.
It's like Cameron, you're just used to being like a few seconds behind Peyton and all that, but that's awesome. So. And so you guys obviously had that expectation of around 60 minutes, and you were 7 or 8 minutes long. And I kind of feel like everyone had a similar experience. There were some people who were like, I did what I expected to do, but I didn't hear anyone say like it was a fast day and I swam faster than I expected to. But a lot of people kind of had what you guys. I mean, that's about 10% more than you expected, which kind of was the norm, which is totally unexpected because race morning was perfect. It was like glass out there. There was no reason that I saw that we should have all been swimming longer. I don't think the course was long, and it wasn't wasn't bad conditions or anything. I don't know. Maybe maybe the water was exceptionally thick or something. But
day. Yeah.
So you guys have a great swim, blow through transition, I'm sure. How was the bike for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to touch on one thing in transition. It was funny coming into the change tent because I that's when I realized that I was closer because I didn't know until I got in the change tent and she was standing there. She comes in and goes, "Oh, hi, Twin. Oh, hi, Twin." Yeah, I was very excited to see her. Yeah, and then it's such a cool experience in Ironman because there's so many people there offering to help you.
Yeah.
So it's so different than sprint because you're on your own and it's always go, go, go. For this, it's like, "Oh, can I help you with this? Can I help you with this?" I was like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah.
Like, that'd be great. So yeah,
Just
transition
have a
is
seat for a minute and just kind of do what you need to do. And
Yeah, it was
definitely a
nice.
unique experience there with Ironman. So,
Yeah, for sure.
But the
and the volunteers are fantastic. That's
totally.
Yes.
they're signing up for a lot when they're volunteering to help in those change tents. There's it's a dirty job and a thankless job, but they do it great.
I know.
And then
I couldn't do it without them.
I know the volunteers are outstanding. So
Yeah.
So onto the bike. How did that go?
do you want to go first?
Sure. So the bike for me, I started off just trying to lower my heart rate because it was around 175, and that's pretty high for me getting off the bike, and I wanted it to be in the 150s to 160s. So I was just working on lowering my heart rate for the first little bit, and then once I got out to the toll road, especially after I did one out, I was like, this is going to be a long day because the out and back was long. And it's just like, you're just in TT position and you're just looking at your computer going, this is where I'm going to be for the next 5 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
So the first out and back was fine for me. Like, there was a couple of people on the side cheering and I was just trying to get in my rhythm, but I was starting to have some neck issues, which was not due to fit. I just think it was because, I don't know, I hadn't been in TT for that long, but I'm honestly not sure what it was, but I was having some neck issues. So by the time I started the second loop, I was fighting some demons there because I wanted to stop so bad, but I think it's kind of coming from sprint in that mindset where you don't stop. So I just kept telling myself, keep going, you can do it. And I worked through it all the way out to the end again. And then by the time I was coming back, the last 40K, because I was in pain and because my stomach was upset, so I had stupidly stopped taking nutrition, which is not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Nope.
Yeah, I was in not a great headspace and I was pretty upset, but I was like, you just got to make it to T2 and then you'll see your friends and family again. And then I can think about the run. So it was just putting one pedal in front of the other, getting back to transition. Oh yeah.
So that I at the very top I mentioned the last podcast we did, which was my story, and I can certainly empathize with the neck pain because that's effectively what derailed my day. I actually spent a little over 2 hours throughout the course of the bike trying to get my neck to stop hurting so I could just hold my head up. But I can certainly relate to that. So I'm glad that you were able to handle it better than I was. But so I can certainly empathize with that. And props for gutting it out and continuing on. So Peyton, how about you? How was the bike for you?
Yeah, so when we started, I felt really strong. Again, I was also trying to get my heart rate down, so I was kind of just doing my thing. Like, I started taking nutrition. And then when I got on the toll road, everything was new because we had never been to Texas and we'd never done an Ironman. We'd never done this race. So it went by faster because you're just looking around and you're like, this is so cool and awesome. And then the pros started to come by and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And my first lap was honestly really strong. There wasn't really any wind, so that was really nice. And I kind of just put my head down and got to work on the first lap and I was enjoying it. And then the second lap came around and I was hurting a little bit, but then I saw some friends and family and I was like, okay, this is okay. And then by the time I got to the turnaround, it started raining and then I got headwind only on my way back. So I didn't even get a tailwind out and my average started going down and I was like, oh, it was so disheartening because you work so hard for at least for my average and just to get back at a certain time. And that was probably the hardest part of the day. It was on the way back from the toll road for me, just because of the rain. And then there's not as many people out. The pros are gone. And it's, just not very fun.
It gets lonely and painful.
Yeah.
So
But
are
that
you
was
saying,
my
Peyton,
bike.
from the toll road back to transition, or that last stretch of the toll road?
To transition was just not fun. Yeah, just on the way back, honestly. Like, once you get off the toll road, you kind of celebrate, but I
Uh-huh.
was also just in pain in general. Just when you do anything for 6 hours, it's not
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I talked about this last week, but my computer quit working, and so I didn't know where I was or how far, but it felt like, transition should be around every next corner, and it was. So that was like the
Yeah.
big mental thing of like, where is it, and where do I get to get off this bike, but that's cool. So, do you think the bike, I will say both the course and the Ironman bike leg, riding that 180K, did that meet your expectations? Was it kind of what you were in for, or were there some surprises along the way?
I think it kind of met my expectations because going in, I knew it was gonna be a long day because it's the longest part of the day.
And I'd heard lots of people saying that it's just boring. Like, you just put your head down
Yeah.
and you go to work for 6 hours. So,
Yeah. But honestly, I kept myself pretty entertained for the most of the time until it started getting hard, obviously. But yeah, I think it was pretty similar to what I thought it was going to be.
So I'm curious now, what was your form of entertainment on the bike?
Just like mentally, just almost literally talking to myself, being
Yeah.
like, I'm so excited to like go up the hill and so I can get out of aero and take nutrition, and then getting to the next aid station. Every aid station was really fun for me. I felt like it was like a boost.
break.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a break and a boost of energy. So I was just really excited. I'm like, just get to the next aid station. And then honestly, like just self-encouragement,
Yeah.
even sometimes out loud when I'm like really struggling. I'm like, you can do it. Like, it's okay. Like,
That's what I was doing. And
just keep going.
yeah,
Like,
in the last 40K, I even had a girl come up to me and was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working through it. Thanks." No, like,
yeah.
and I was just saying to myself as I'm crying, "You can do it. You can do it. Keep
Yeah.
going. Like, you just got to get to transition." So yeah, sometimes outward encouragement is what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that helped.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and there's so much of it on the Ironman course, which is something that really does make it special. So kind of going back to that swim question, what would you say was the best part of the bike course?
Probably seeing the pros, probably the first time for me, just because you know that they're on the course with you, but then seeing them in the flesh doing their profession is so cool. Like,
I totally agree. That was my favorite part.
it's
And
free
they go by
entertainment.
so fast. Oh,
So
man.
fast.
Yeah. Even I was just like, dang, those guys are booking it. Like, no telling how fast they were. But yeah, that was super fast. But it is kind of frustrating. You're like, man, they're 40 miles ahead of me. They're already
I know.
my first. They're starting their second. I mean, that was just like, man. I wish I were starting my second. But so this may be an easier one. What was the worst part of the bike?
The worst part for me was the last 40 kilometers.
Yeah.
Because I was just, at that point, I was in so much pain and I was just so down in the dumps mentally, even though I was trying to encourage myself. And then it started raining and I was just like, this is miserable.
Yeah. I would agree. I think when you get to a point where you're already hurting and then the rain comes and there's not very many people anymore and you're just like,
Yeah, that's the other thing is I must have been in like kind of no man's land between people because I came into T2 thinking I was in like the back of everybody.
Yeah.
Like for some reason in my brain I was thinking I was in like one of the last people, and so that didn't help either.
it's funny what your brain makes up
Oh,
while
yeah.
you're racing. Yeah. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And I had the same experience that you guys did, and actually, this is the second time at Ironman Texas I had that same experience. To where generally we have pretty good winds out of the south because the Gulf is down there, so the prevailing winds come out and blow from south to north. So usually you're working hard headed south, but then when you head back, you've got a nice tailwind, and that's about mile 80 to 100, kind of roughly, and those are genuinely the really hard miles because it's like man, whoever added those 12 miles, like, I'm mad at that person because, like, you're at mile 8 and you still have 32 miles left. Like, that's a lot and that's hard. But what's great about the general wind direction at Ironman Texas is you're getting that tailwind from 80 to 100, and then once you're at 100, you're like, okay, I can. These 12 miles are stupid, but I can do them. And then so this was actually the second time a front came in and didn't really help with the tailwind on the southbound side, but made it considerably harder on the northbound side. So it was just kind of like usually you have that reciprocation where, your tailwind becomes a headwind, vice versa. But this was like just the bad side of it. There was no good side of it on that. So you head into T2. Anything notable in T2?
Well,
I can start because this is more positive. I got off the bike and my spirits were pretty low just because of how hard it was. I wasn't really thinking about the run, but I was just, kind of discouraged just because of how my bike went and the back half was so hard. But I got off the bike and then honestly, the transition makes you have a goldfish brain because you just forget everything and you're like, this is so fun. Everyone's cheering for you. Yeah. But when I got off my bike and I didn't have shoes on, just socks, I was like, oh, I'm stiff. Like it was like running on pins and needles. It was something I wasn't expecting. But then once I got in the tent again, the volunteers were so helpful. Like I was like, thank you so much. Like you're helping me a lot. And then my T2 was about 5 minutes, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, not bad.
But I went out of the transition and I was like, I could have taken probably 1 more minute just to sit there. Because once you come out, you're like, okay, now I have a task to do. But when you're in the changing tent, you're like, I could sit here a little longer. But it was okay. It was a pretty good transition. Yeah. And then I got off the bike and at that point, I needed to see my mom and dad because I was so in the dumps. And I was like, I just want to talk to people that I know are going to cheer me on. And so I saw my mom. I came around the corner and I was just walking because my back had like seized up getting off the bike because you go from a sprint, you think, oh, I'm just going to run off the bike. And that was not the case. Yeah. So I was just walking to get my run bag and I saw my mom and she gave me a hug and I was like, I feel like I'm like in last place. She's like, you're not even close. Like, you're doing great. And so I was just I was struggling, but I was getting through. I picked up my run bag and I got into the tent and I was still crying. And this volunteer was like, let me help you. And she was such an angel because while I was just having a little pity party for myself, she just pulled out all my stuff and laid it out for me. And she's like, okay, I'll leave you alone now, but your stuff's already for you. And I was like, thank you so much.
You're so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what I needed. And I let myself take as much time as I needed because in the back of my head, I knew I still had a full marathon to do. So I just, I went as slow as possible. And then I got out of the run and talked to mom and dad again. Yeah. And they were like, just take it 5K at a time. I was like, how many 5Ks is that? Like, so it's going to be so long. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of 5Ks. And once again, Cameron, you kind of had a similar experience. My daughter was there just right outside the barricades at T2, and that was I was ready to hang it up and be done. And then I saw her, and that's what gave me the motivation and the energy and all those things to head out onto that run course. So speaking of, tell us about your run.
Yeah. So as I left my mom and dad, I started off pretty good. Like I looked down on my watch and I was running 5:30 per kilometers in miles. I think that's like 8:45 or something. So I was like running fast and I was like, okay, well, I've had this every time I've done a runoff, so maybe it's going to be good. I quickly learned that was not the case, but the first mile was really nice. I saw one of our friends and he cheered me on and I cheered him on and I was like, okay, we're on a new part. Like we're going to put the bike behind us. Like it's going to do it. And then unfortunately, because I had mentioned, I stopped fueling for the last 2.5 hours on the bike. That caught up for me. So the first 7 kilometers of the run, I was in 2 different heads. 4.5 miles. Yeah, 4.5 miles. I was thinking, I am going to finish, like, even if it takes me walking for 7 hours. But also another part of me said, I don't want to walk for 7 hours. So I was just, as soon as I got through like 2 or 3 aid stations, I was taking Coke and electrolytes and water. I started being able to run to each aid station, which was really awesome. So then once I was running to each aid station, I was in
a lot better spirits. But in the first 4.5 miles, I was like the only one walking, and that also was funny in my head because
Yeah.
I was like, is this not a thing? Like, does anybody like, is nobody else feeling bad? So that was also something I had to work through. And yeah, but the run course is incredible. Like,
Mhm.
for the bike being boring, the run course sure makes up for it because
Yeah.
3 loops, you get to see your family like at least 3 times, and I feel like it's a perfect distance because each
Mhm.
section of the course you could kind of break up. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'll let you jump in. Sorry, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's my
yeah.
thing is the swim is horrible, the bike sucks, but the run makes it worth it. And I got to say, kind of going back to the bike, your next Ironman venue, you're going to enjoy the bike a lot more because I will say I've done several, I've been to lots, and unfortunately, Ironman Texas probably is I don't know about the worst bike, but it is definitely the least scenic, most boring. So it's definitely up from here. So as mentioned, it was a long day for me, and I started off out of transition, again fueled by seeing my daughter, and I made it to I guess probably a mile and a half. I made that, kind of came out of the park and made a left turn there at that light, and I saw Peyton. And I don't even know if you remember this, but I told you happy birthday. And yeah, and then I was like, so what loop are you on? And you're like, I'm on 3. And I was like, oh man, I'm on 1. That's
Oh no.
so that was super fun. And again, like, celebrity sighting out there. So it says, Peyton, how did the run go for you?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't remember that, which makes me
It's
really
fair.
sad.
It's
But
fair.
the third lap is pretty foggy. um,
Mhm.
but no, honestly, time-wise, my run was not good. But overall, my run was incredible. Like, just spirit-wise and just like proving to myself that I could do it. But
Mhm.
the first lap, I also struggled because I was like in a lot of pain, and also it wasn't living up to the expectations I had
Mhm.
had speed-wise in my
Mhm.
head. So immediately my brain went, well, then failure, which isn't true because and the Ironman is a swim, bike, and run, not just your
Mhm.
runs.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna adjust myself to listening my body, and that
Mhm.
was probably my main pillar throughout that whole day, was listening to my body. So off the bat, I just like walked every aid station. I just took my nutrition and tried to run more and more every
Mhm.
time. And each lap I did do that. I started running more and more through each
Nice.
lap, but
Mhm.
my running got slower each lap. So it averaged out to be about the same, but it was pretty good. Yeah.
Well,
That's
it's like
funny because
even splits at Ironman. That is impressive. I mean, if you can, not many people negative split, not even many people even split. So props on that. So kind of carrying on our tradition here, Cameron, what was your favorite part of the run course?
I think my favorite part once it was like the second lap because I could enjoy a lot of the things that I was like looking forward to. Like I really enjoyed Hippie Hollow. There was
Yeah.
actually like a DJ in the woods in the
Yeah.
the back section that I really enjoyed. I was like I chatted to him like as I ran by. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And then just being able to like actually work the second lap was
Yeah.
probably the most fun because the first lap I was just working around my brain and getting into it. And then the third lap, I was basically trying to throw my body into a run because it was
Mhm.
dying. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to interrupt you. My favorite part on the run, was probably the Ironman camaraderie. And when I
Mhm.
say this,
yes.
I had an example because when I started the run, I had a girl with me that was also basically doing the same thing of walk running.
Mhm.
And we had like gone back and forth a couple of times, and then we finally stopped to walk at the same point. And I was like, hey, like, good job, you're doing amazing. Like, we're just gonna ping pong off of each other all day
Yeah.
because that's the way it ended up. And I was like, what, like, how are you doing? Like, what's your, not like, what's
Mhm.
your issue, but like, what is hurting right now,
Right.
basically? And she was like, oh, my back is giving me issues that are going to my stomach. I'm like, hey, I got back issues too right now from like off the bike. And so
Mhm.
it was really sweet and
Mhm.
special because it's like, it brings your brain out of it, and you're like, wow, we are all doing the same thing. And
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of people dealing with the same stuff as you, and
Mhm.
you're not by yourself.
I had that too, actually. I had a girl I was ping ponging off of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was so cool. It was sad for me that I was struggling so much because there were so many encouraging people, and I
Yeah.
would love
Yeah.
to like actually like acknowledge them a little more because I
Mhm.
was truly grateful for everybody cheering me on.
Yeah.
But there was this girl on the second lap, and she came up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, are you Twinwave?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Oh my goodness, I get to meet Twinwave." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you." And they
See?
were just kind
Yeah.
of running to get there. Yeah, that is so cool for being with people and
Yeah.
meeting people.
I think each lap, though, every lap I was in more pain, but every lap I enjoyed more, which sounds
Mhm.
funny.
Mhm.
But
Hmm.
every step and every lap was closer to the goal that I always wanted. So it
Yeah.
was like getting so surreal to the point, like I started my third lap and I was already
Mhm.
having to stop myself from crying, thinking about finishing because I was like,
Mhm.
one more lap. And
That's me too.
I was like, one more lap and I'm going up to the finish line that I had been
Mhm.
hearing for previous 2 laps. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get to go and finish. And so I was like trying not to cry like at the start. And I was like, girl, you
Yeah.
still have a whole lap, which
9 more
also
miles or whatever.
yeah.
Yep.
And that was also one of my favorite things is I really liked the 3-loop format.
Me too.
That brought my brain out from my watch in every
Mhm.
kilometer, every mile. 3
Yeah.
loops out. You can break it up so easily.
Yeah, because you
Mhm.
had like the 2 canal sides, and then you had the neighborhood, and then you had the forest. That's
Yep.
kind of how I broke it up in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's forever. It's, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And when you have that, the loop, and then you can divide the loop further. Yeah, that's how I make it. And man, what a crazy neighborhood to run through. Like, I don't even know how much the houses cost, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I had a dad joke when I went through there, and it was such a dad joke that I told it twice on the first. I was like, man, your man kind of put us through a sketchy neighborhood here after dark. And, obviously it was not a sketchy neighborhood at all. We were the sketchy ones.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. So,
Thank you.
as you mentioned, third loop comes and goes. And something I love about that third loop is the thought that every step is the last time I'm going to cover. It's like we're out of the woods. We're not going to the woods again. We're out of the neighborhood. We're not going back
Exactly.
into the neighborhood. So that's always awesome. But so, and I want to hear from each of you guys on this, but tell us about that finish line. So you've made that right turn that says headed to the finish, kind of run up the ramp, and you're starting to approach. You've gone into the barricades. Tell us, Cameron, kind of what was that like? What were you feeling? What were you experiencing through that last couple hundred yards?
Oh man. I mean, in the last 2 miles, I had my family there saying 2 more miles, and I was like, that's still a long way to go. Like, so when I finally hit that turn off to the finish, I was like, finally somewhere new to go. Like, I did not want to go there anymore. Yeah. And so I turned the corner, and once I was running up the side of that like mural on the building, I was like, I was starting to sprint. I was like, the adrenaline was bubbling, and I was so excited, and I was like wanting to race the girl next to me, and it was such a fun experience. And I got around the corner, you had to go down and then come back up, and I got to the bell, and there was like 2 other guys there, so I'm just kind of standing there waiting to ring the bell, and then I rang the bell. Yeah, and then I come across the finish line, and I had no idea how far ahead Peyton had finished from me. So I was just excited to finally be with everybody and across the finish line. And I heard you are an Ironman, and I was like, "This is the craziest thing in the world!" Like I never thought. I was thinking all day, I'm never gonna do this again. And then I crossed the finish line, and I was like, I want to do another one.
Do this again, yeah.
Yeah, it made it all worth it. And it was so cool seeing all our friends and family, and it's so crazy. Yeah.
And then Peyton was there, right? When you cross got to, did she put your medal on?
No, my dad did.
Dad? Okay, yeah. I was gonna say the other one that dad was there, so that's awesome. Yeah, very cool. Do you know what song was playing when you crossed the finish line?
I don't. I think it's so funny because even as I think about my finish, I can't even like picture it. I think I like
Yeah.
I can't even
don't.
remember, which
Mhm.
is so fun.
I remember hearing you were an Ironman, and I
Mhm.
remember hugging you
Mhm.
and us jumping up and down. And once I had like finished the experience, and Scott Drew had cupcakes for us at the end,
Oh
which
my
was so
gosh, that was
incredible. I
Very cool.
remember and getting sung to "Happy Birthday," which was
Oh, that's fun.
crazy. Yeah, and then Talbot Cox for
is there gave Cameron her towel, which is like
which we're pretty big fans of. And yeah, so after crossing the finish line, I kind of like vision cleared a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's always, and that's something I always encourage people to do, but it's so hard. Kind of like we said from the beginning, is being present on that red carpet, because so much is happening, and it's the lights, the noise, the people, and you got the lights in your eyes, so it's hard to see like who's who and all that. But
Yeah.
if you can be present in that moment, that's really what makes it so worth it. So Peyton, tell us about your trek to the final finish line.
Yeah, so like I said, I couldn't stop crying. When I first turned onto the canal, I was like already again.
The canal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at the start,
Yeah.
I was trying not to cry because I'm like, this is it. Like, we're here. Like, this is so cool. I waited for this so long. And then I saw my parents as well at 2 miles to go, and
Mhm.
they were so encouraging. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, again, I'm like, this is it. Like, you're actually here after all that work and your entire life. Like,
Mhm.
this is what you waited for it. And like, you better be so excited. But the problem is I thought she was right behind me. So I'm
Mm.
running scared still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is Cameron? I'm looking behind me. I'm like, is she going to pass me? Because I want to enjoy the moment, but I also don't want to be passed by her. So that was kind of a funny tidbit. But I had actually looked up previously, like the Ironman Pro YouTube, and seen the finish. And so when I finally peeled off, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the coolest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And Tasha, one of the coaches on the teams there, she was there, and she was like, enjoy it. And I was like, I burst into tears. I was like, I can cry now. Like, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And then I got around and I was like, oh my gosh. But then I got to the bell and I tried ringing it. And I was like, why is it not ringing? And I couldn't figure it out. And you had to take the handle and like actually hit the bell. And that was kind of funny. But when I finally crossed, I was like, it was just, there are no words because you wait for it your entire life. And it's also funny because then you're like, it's over so quickly.
Yeah.
And so
It's in slow-mo.
yeah. And
Mhm.
so I just tried to enjoy it. And my whole family was crying because we were just like, this is the coolest and craziest thing we've ever done. And
Yeah.
after all that hard work everyone in our family has put in, like, you get to enjoy. And so it was the best thing I've ever experienced.
That's awesome. I love it. The finish line stories never get old. And the finish line itself never gets old, both as a participant and as a spectator and a coach. And I can, so that was my 11th time to cross an Ironman finish line. And, it was my slowest ever, but, it was the hardest day I've ever had, racing Ironman. So it was special and unique. And, just like you said, very similar emotions, even though it was my 11th time, to cross. And so, yeah, that never gets old. As a coach, seeing your athletes, I can only imagine the pride and satisfaction of your parents seeing you guys, come across. So, that's awesome. So, what do you have to do now to confirm this as an actual record? Is there some kind of documentation you guys are providing, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we had signed everything up prior to, so once we finished, we just needed to submit our results
and media.
and some media, and then we're already up there. We're confirmed. We're on the world
Very
record
cool.
site, which is actually crazy. So
Yeah.
we're working on getting certificates now sent to us, and other than that, yeah, that's it. We're up there.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is so cool. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So from that point all the way back
Yep.
to where I guess it was Peyton, you said, let's do this Ironman thing in our birthday. What was the hardest thing throughout all those months that you guys experienced?
I think for us, like it was a little more closer to the race. We got our blood tested, which was just
Mhm.
kind of a funny topic, but
Mhm.
we both found out that we are super iron deficient. Our
Mhm.
ferritin levels are really low, and that actually explained a lot of our trouble in training. Was
Yeah.
why we felt like we were gonna fall asleep during
Mhm.
intervals, which is like not a normal feeling, and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. So I think realizing that was good, but also having to work through that because a month out, if you get your blood tested, you can't
There's
prove
not
that.
much you
Yeah.
can change.
Mhm.
So maybe working through that and racing with that was one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had dealt with some of like the falling asleep things that come with having low iron, but I had
Mhm.
never had that. And during the run, there was a couple times when I stopped to walk and I was like, oh, my eyes rolled in the back. Like I closed my eyes and I was like, oh my gosh, like might fall over. So I think before my iron was 12 or my ferritin scores, sorry, were 12
Uh-huh.
and normal is 100.
Yeah.
So it's pretty low to start with, and then we did an Ironman. So recovery has been interesting.
We're
Yeah.
working on getting them higher, but I think that was one of the biggest things we had to just acknowledge and work through.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
an issue for a lot of athletes, but especially the
Mhm.
female athletes as well.
Yeah.
This is where I am not in line with you. I actually have very high iron, and I kind of
Okay.
made a mistake in where I had to do. They call it a therapeutic phlebotomy, where it's basically just a blood dump. I did that like 6 weeks out from the race, and
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even think like they took like 10% of my blood supply. And so like all of a sudden, every workout I felt like it was like 10,000 feet of elevation just because I didn't have the blood cells to transport oxygen and all that. And so that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that. So what would you say kind of in that same period over this last year or however long it's been, what would you say, what are some of the lessons that you've learned?
Hmm. I think the lesson is like this can be applied to anything is
Mhm.
it's a lot easier to get a goal if you have a plan, and it's
Mhm.
also a lot easier to get like through things if you have a goal. So having a goal and a plan is like the key because for us a lot of the time we were just either training ourselves or didn't have a clear goal in mind, and that's really hard. Like when you don't know
Mhm.
what you're training for, you can't be
Yeah.
confident in your training. So that's why this block was so rewarding and encouraging because there was a goal and there was a plan, and also mentally just knowing that you had to believe that you could do it. And so
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I think like Iron Man always says anything is possible.
Mhm.
And it sounds, before you do it, it sounds a bit cliche, obviously, because a lot of people say that. Like
Yeah.
once they're done or they do something incredible, they're like, anything is possible and you can do anything. And you think that, like you have some belief in yourself.
Mhm.
But I think throughout this journey, and then once you finish, there's a bit of renewed confidence where it's like, you can do anything. And it
Yeah.
may be not what you expect, and things aren't going to go your way. And like it's not always going to work out, but if you
Mhm.
just keep going and try your best, like it could be better than you ever imagined, and anything is possible at that point if you have self-belief and confidence in yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool, guys. So last question I've got for you guys. What is next for Twinwave?
Well, on the calendar right now, if we can go back to Canada, we are planning to do T100 Vancouver.
Because that's where
Okay.
we're originally from. That's
Yeah.
why after
Yeah.
a couple of days the humidity was okay again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And explains the kilometer references and
Yes, yes. But we are also planning to go up to Boulder, Colorado for the month of June to train.
nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then after that, potentially Waco 70.3 to get the
Okay.
Texas two-step medal.
Yeah, yeah.
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 And then after that, Cameron and I were talking, and maybe some ultras in the running
Okay.
space.
Yeah.
Just things that go far and test ourselves.
I think,
Yeah.
especially after doing an Ironman, my brain was going, now I really want to do some more big
Now
things
what?
like that.
Yeah.
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 Well, that is super cool. And Cameron, there is a section on the run course in Waco that is through Cameron Park. Not spelled the
No
same.
way.
Not spelled the same.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's a beast of a climb, and it's the entire course is flat except for this notorious hill through Cameron Parks. But yeah, so
Nice.
that it's a great race. I used to live in Houston, which is a couple hours from there, so it's probably 2 to 3 hours from the Woodlands, and yeah, it's a good one. So I would recommend that. Hope to see you guys out there, and yeah, get that Texas 2-step. So guys, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And I was impressed with you guys before race day and during race day, after race day, and just after this conversation, all the more impressed. I can really tell you guys have the gratitude that is so important, and especially as teenagers, a lot of times the teenagers don't have that, and I see it, and I know everyone else will as well. Obviously, we know the amount of work and dedication that goes into that. When I was 18, or you guys were training at 17, so when I was 17, I was definitely not doing this kind of stuff, and I don't think many other people were either. So, man, props to you guys. All the best with your last couple weeks of school, and I am excited for whatever comes next for you guys, because I know personal, professional, athletically, you guys are in for some good stuff. You've demonstrated that you have that ability. So all the best to you guys. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you guys out on the race course.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking with us and everything you've done. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Your
All right.
first podcast. This was